welcome. Woody and Helen, would you like to briefly introduce yourselves, and then we'll just jump in and talk it?
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm I'm Helen Marringer, uh, CEO of Shire Post Mint, and Woody. No wait, Woody. There we go.
Hey, I'm Woody. I'm operations manager at Shire Post Mint.
And by operations manager, because I've realized that a lot of these terms mean a lot of different things. What exactly do you do? I'm kind of softballing you here because we're going to talk about what you do.
Right. So basically, I'm running the shop. Tom is working on retiring. We're building a new shop,
Oh, good for him.
and yeah, and so I've been on since 2015, and I've just been kind of slowly catching up and learning everything. And once we get the new shop done, he's probably going to try to step back a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of take over the main part of coin operation.
And do you do this engraving that I've seen here?
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
So
what the hell, man? That's what I have to say. That's my lead out. Like, how
so
how did you
out
start
of
doing this?
out of necessity of needing coin dies engraved, I was like, I'm gonna try it out. So it's been a work in process. I learn new stuff every time I do it. But Tom was like, "There's the engraving tools," and I was like, "Cool." And so I just started having at it.
Wow. Wow. So um you know, I'm gonna let's let's see. Here's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna see now that we have this graphic here. This is the dawning of a brave new world. I'm gonna browse up a couple other different images to show off this coin to see if I can hot swap these. So, well, okay, that wasn't ideal, but I'm showing a pretty nice focus version of the tree side of the coin here, um, which when I saw this, even just in the photo um, that you sent along, I just I don't know what I was expecting, but it was not this amazing. Um, and like, did you do a bunch of art before? And everybody, I can't stress enough that like this as good as this looks, it is not as impressive as seeing it in person because like there is depth and gradient and roundness to the engraving. If you've ever, I mean, I what I always think of is the old British pennies that I played with as a kid. Like those were cool. Like a U.S. penny, like whatever, like U.S. coins, whatever. That's what you have in your pocket, and that's not magical. But like those old British pennies were so cool, and they were a different shape, and but also like the detail on them was really amazing. And so like did you do art before this, or did you like from the ground up? How did you get to this point?
So the first dies I engraved were back in 2001. Like I was like 21 at the time when Tom got his first press, and we're like, hey, yeah, let's make some coin dies. So I muddled around with it, um, but then had jobs in manufacturing and aerospace, and then
Hold on,
when
hold
I
on, hold
came,
on, hold on, hold on. Wait. Uh you had jobs in aerospace engineering.
well, not engineering, just aerospace,
Okay, but
manufacturing, not the engineering side.
okay. So would you? I mean, you can't just kind of toss that out. Could you give me a little bit of that? Just tell me a little bit,
So
like.
I made parts for airplanes, navy ships. I even made something that went on the space station. I was assembling things, doing part marking, pretty basic assembly stuff. Um,
I know. I just want to jump in here real quick. I know there was a story you had about you're doing like quality control and trying to pick out things that were manufactured badly, and you would pick out things that would be this ridiculously tiny amount of error, like 100th of an inch or something.
Yeah, so I'd get a bunch of parts in, and there would be one part that would be the CNC messed up, and it cut it off just a little bit wrong, and I'd be seeing thousands of these, and I was like, oh, this one's bad, So I kind of have an eye for that kind of thing.
And this like crazy amount of minuscule detail different. Like he's got an eye for that stuff.
And I will just say, like, I have a friend who actually went into aerospace engineering. It was his dream job, and and he he moved forward, and he did that with his life. But he mentioned, like, he went in and he started working, and the thing, and he said, I kind of started to get a reputation because I came in and I checked the math on some of these things, and he's like, hey, I think like the plane won't fall out of the sky, but after about 3 or 4 takeoffs, this central strut will bend and then need to be replaced every time. Like, and he's like, and so like, but okay, yeah, that's new. I super didn't know that about you. I'm sorry, please continue.
So, I mean, the other thing that really helps me out is I've got really good vision. I'm the only one in the family that doesn't need glasses.
Yeah.
Part of this
We're all jealous.
Part of this comes from not reading very much, because I was assigned reading as punishment as a kid.
Oh no! Oh man!
In school, not at home. At school.
Even that's a fucking crime. I'm angry about that.
But that's where it started. So I have really good vision. I can see really well, and that's the main thing, is being able to see what you're doing at the point in small little areas.
Yeah. But like, so not a lot of actual artistic training, because I've seen Nate's originals, and Nate's a great artist, but like, this is not, you did not merely trace this, this
Right.
is its own artistic endeavor.
So I think I have a really good grasp of how to make things in 3 dimension. So, I blew my drafting and design teacher's mind when I just said, yeah, I can draw this in 3D. And he showed me the blueprints, and I drew it in 3D in like a nice isometric view. And I was like, yeah, everybody can do this, right? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, all right. So, grasping what a tree looks like, like there's the outline of a tree, but like, what does that look like as a tree? And then how do you make that in a flat thing? I've been working on it for 6 years engraving, for sure. I've had 6 years of on-the-job practice engraving to do it, to get to this point.
So
it'd be cool to compare all of your trees as you progress, because I know you've done a couple.
Right.
See how they've changed over time.
Yeah, and so I'm going to flip over. I have some of your pictures here that I'm going to change. I'm going to show one of the pictures that you sent. Here's this looks like maybe one of the dies. I don't know the technical term. What do you call the thing that
the smashy?
The thing that mashed the planchette. What do you
Yeah, that's a die.
That is a die?
Yeah.
So is this what I'm showing here now? That.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, this is for Woody. I don't know if you can see this, but it's the king side. It looks like after you did the panto, but before doing the hand engraving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what we're using in the shop to do the layout is a panto mill. So it's a pantograph that has a little tiny cutter in the tip. And so I'm basically just tracing the design, and it's doing just kind of a rough cut. Kind of like a cut by numbers. I'll kind of select a couple depths, and then it's just real rough. And then I come back and do the hand engraving. So for the tree, most of the edges of the tree were done on the pantograph, the edges of the leaves. Um, but then, I took a Dremel and blended out some of the spots that don't have hard lines, where it kind of goes from one depth to another, and got all that kind of smoothed out to the basic shape, and then came in and did all the leaves like in one go.
And so now I'm sharing what looks like, um, because I don't have, I took one of these on my own, but also it's on my phone. And so I like, for me to try to get it here on the stream would be a fool's errand. Like, here is a very close up. Not sure if this is quite. See, I'm jealous about you saying you're the only one who doesn't need glasses. I always had like pilot eyes. What I've always thought of, I've had like 25 vision, and so I always needed. I could see at 20 feet away what normal people could see at when they were only 5 feet away, and then I hit 42, and suddenly I can't fucking read anymore, like without glasses. And it's like I've always been able to go into Narnia, and now I need it. Now I need a key for that door, and I'm not used to carrying it around. But I'm you can't see it because I've covered up my own video. But I put on my glasses, and I think, yeah, this looks pretty. I think this is the finished work here.
Yeah, the king side.
This is the king side, and on one side you have Phaedra, king in life, and the day side, and then there's the night side of the coin, with him, and in Nate's sketch that he did, I'm like, I want on one side, it might seem like he's offering a choice, but he's really not. He's got his arms up, and he's like, hey, here's a sword, but it's sword as an icon being held upside down. And also, it seems like he's saying, hey, here's a sword, or you can sign a treaty. That's not what he's saying. Because Phaedra, maybe I'll stop looking at this coin in my hand and maybe reveal a little bit more of this. I'll reveal my screen so people can see me talk. What he's got is he's holding the sword, point down that way, and what that is like, he's like, you want this? Did you want this or want this? It's not what he's actually saying. He's saying, do you want this? And he's like, this is your map, because all of the Vintish people, all these clans before they became the nation of Vintas, ruled over by a king, they were like raiders. They were traders, and there's a fine line between what is a merchant, what is a corsair, what is a pirate, what is the difference between a well-armed merchant ship looking to defend itself and maybe a well-armed merchant ship who is not above taking an easy target from an enemy. And so, like, there were all these little squabbling kingdoms, but if you're the captain of a ship, the thing that is your greatest resource is your maps, your personal maps of like what the floor of the sea looks like, or what, how the tides, affect things. And so what Phaedra is actually saying there, he's like, you will give me your map. You will surrender that which makes you self-autonomous. It's like, or sword, and but there's also sort of the implication of like, if you give me this thing, then all of us together sharing all of our resources, we will be a nation. But mostly he's like, no, if I can sit down, give me your map, or sword. But then on the night side, instead of arms up, his arms are down. And when the way Nate drew it, I looked at it and I'm like, oh man, Nate, did you mean to make Phaedra look kind of like come at me? Did you mean Phaedra to be like come at me, bro? And he's like, yeah, I went for a little bit of that. And I'm like, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And that is Phaedra, the Barrow King. He is king still after death. He minted this coin when, after, like during his conquest and after his solidification of power. And so he's like, you know what? Yes, I am here. Yes, you should be afraid of me. Yes, give me your map or else. And he's like, but also even after I'm dead, I'm going to be here. So don't even think that you're off the hook. So yeah, I could not be, again, and I've said it on the stream multiple times. I was excited. I was eager to do this, but the way that this turned out was not just better than I expected. It was better than I had hoped, and I can have high hopes.
Well, like on the moon side, as it was drawn, it wasn't drawn originally with like a black night sky, but obviously it was. So I wanted to make sure that I could try to get that as dark as possible, unlike the other side, which was the day side.
I remember Nate was talking about that, and he's like, and I'm like, because again, I'm just throwing things out. I'm like, do you think, we've got the sun, we've got the moon. This should be enough. This signifies this is daytime, this is nighttime. It's the same way on the other side of the coin. It's like, this is summer, this is winter, or you could make a fair argument for like, this is the living tree or the dead tree.
It has that snow on it, so
yeah,
that definitely implies winter.
And but the and then I'm like, could you like do like some hash work or something to really make it clear it's nighttime? Because the Barrow Drug can't be out during the daytime. Them's the rules. And he goes, I'll see, I'll talk to him. And then it came back, and I didn't see it there until I held it in my hand, and I was like, oh shit. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's perfect. And not just in the sky, it's behind the stones. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, Woody and I had talked about, how to try to make that night aspect, and Woody was like, yeah, I can stipple it. One thing I didn't even think about is it kind of looks like a really starry sky, just because of that's how it was gonna have to look to get it dark.
Yeah.
Right.
But
yeah.
Yeah. Also just a little bit more behind the scenes for everyone here on this side. I would try to flip this so that you could see Phaedra right set up. Okay, I'm gonna look at it real quick. Can I invert this? I am virtually certain that I cannot, so I'm not even going to try anymore. I'm not even going to waste time. But on the other side, initially we were drawing it, and I kept saying to Nate, the constant comment was, but can you make him bigger? Can you really, really make it clear that this dude, like, he beefy. Like, he Beowulf thick. And so he would do it. And I'm like, that is a very big boy there. That is a very good, beefy boy you made me, Nate. But could you make him bigger? Or maybe put something in to make it so clear that according to scale, put an Instagram banana in there or something to show to scale how big this boy is. And so like we put in some soldiers, but it's obviously they're sort of in the background. And so it's not like, oh, he's that much bigger than the soldiers. The thing is, he is kind of almost that much bigger than the soldiers. Dude was an amazing tactician. He was incredibly smart. But also, like, dude was so big. So big. He did not win this from behind a desk. And also, his sword And I'm like, could you make his sword a little more anime? And we did, and it turned out so good. But originally he had 6 soldiers. And the sword on the night side was perfect. But the sword on the day side, I'm like, why does it not look impressive to me? And then we figured out it was because of the soldier behind it. So we got rid of that soldier. So yeah, it just, it turned out so cool. Could you talk a little bit about, and maybe I'm gonna switch this back to the tree side. Could you talk a little bit about how you developed the technique and the process for making it breakable? Because I've always envisioned them this way, and for all I know, I don't think it's ever actually existed in history.
Gotcha. Yeah, we we had a long thinking process on how to do this, and we've got the machinery that can do it, but it's like, how do we design the tooling so that it makes it so you can do it and be able to do it. So it's kind of our first tooling that we made, it was a little bit like off parallel to itself, and it was a little too rounded, and the coins would just break apart, fly apart. There was no adjustment in it. So the key was making it so that the tooling could come in and we could set the depth perfect, so we could turn the wheel on the machine to adjust how easy they were to break. And so a thicker coin actually wanted to send the pieces flying.
Oh.
So the first ones we sent were about as thick as we could get it before it would just not work at all. And then this one, was the thickness of the British penny, which was kind of like the gold standard. And so that was like the thinnest option. So, and the thinner ones actually, for the tooling wise, will break and set the depth better because there's less material that has to go sideways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I wasn't sure if you had a way to groove them or if it was something that came down and hit it and pressed it apart, which I know the thing you want is metal fatigue, but the thing you're afraid of is metal fatigue.
Right.
But I gotta say, I did it on stream the other day, and you know this because you knew this before I did. Like, you threaded the needle on these, because like holding it, and I'm like, nope, not just pressing it, not even with my hand, but then I press it against the edge of the table, and I put some weight on it, and I'm like, it's not doing it. And I honestly am like, oh no, I'm failing on stream. But then I picked it up and I saw that the coin had bent a little bit under that pressure. And I'm like, there we go. And now I know once I've bent it a little bit, there's that little bit of fatigue. And so I did it on the stream and I went like this. I worked it a little bit and it came apart. And of course, everyone on the stream, they were kind of mingled, like excitement and horror. They're like, don't, you're going to ruin it. But
if I could jump in, I had a really singular experience because I was watching the stream and I actually had one right beside me and I saw you doing it and I was like, oh God, I want to do it. I want to break it. But I knew we were going to be doing this stream, so I wanted to wait and break it on camera.
Can you do it? Like you do yours. Yeah. You do you.
I did loosen it a little bit just because I needed to, so it should break pretty easy.
So hold on, wait. What I want to do, I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna take that off, and then I'm gonna go to the zoom, and then I'm gonna, if I click on you, I can do all sorts of things to you here in this drop-down menu. I can put you in the waiting room. That sounds so punitive. spotlight video. Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Hey!
So now hold on for 1 second while I
Just
make
gonna show
sure
this off
that
a little bit.
yeah, there you go. Oh, see, you're smart. You know
I
how to
have a
make
great
your
camera, but
you know how to make your camera focus. Okay, yep, people can see you.
all right. Get a little bit of the side. So this is the thicker one.
That is the thicker one, I can tell.
So this is the one that's the World Builders exclusive.
Oh, I just
Okay.
dabbed and nobody could see it.
So should it be from the front or from the side?
Probably from the side. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe like a 3/4.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So again, I have loosened this a little bit. Oh God. Now I'm going to be failing on the stream. There we go. It's bending a little bit.
Yeah. Actual footage.
Back.
Uh-huh.
Couple more times. Yeah, I feel it getting looser. I think it's fully, it's hard to see, but there's like a, a V-shaped groove, and I think I'm at the extent of the V. It's gonna, oh.
And there it goes.
It's like a little butterfly. Da, da, da. It's
First off, I loved that. And I loved how much you loved that. Like, you did it, and you're like, I've been waiting so long.
Yeah, I was quarantining just precautionarily earlier this week, so it was only yesterday I actually got to hold the one, even though I've been seeing pictures. Yeah, so one thing I also wanted to go over a little bit is when you break it, it's kind of raw, but it's actually, on the thick one at least, it's pretty smooth. I was thinking it was going to be kind of a sharp edge, but
yeah, I knew that the worst it would be, because, like, I don't know, why do I have weird, like, sense, memory, and experience with metal fatigue? Probably doing projects with my dad as a kid. Like, I'm not handy now, but I helped a lot as a kid. The ones that I've broken, and by ones I mean just this one, but they are, like, it feels literally smooth. I'm going through and I'm feeling all of them to make sure that I'm not just doing the pre-broken ones that got sent along. How does yours feel, like running your finger along it?
Yeah, it does feel really smooth. It looks really smooth. The corners are still like a little sharp, but I think it'd be really hard to cut anything. I know Woody and I have been talking about, when you break it, if you don't have a professional tumbler like we do, how to smooth those edges. And Woody was saying just like rubbing the coins edges together will take anything off. And then maybe like rubbing the points on a rock or something should take that off.
And honestly, you talking about it like that, because, and I don't know if this is something that happened in book 2 or if it's in book 3, but at one point, because a lot of the time in the first 2 books, he's spending it in the Commonwealth where there's different pennies. And the pennies are different, or a halfpenny is just a differently shaped penny, as opposed to these, which are grooved. But at one point he buys something in Vintish, and he's like, and he leans it, and he's just had a fucking day, and he takes it, he kind of leans against the edge of the thing, and he like hands it to the bartender, and the bartender breaks it, and then hands him back half. And what Quoth thinks is, you rude fucker, because what happens is, like, if, like, whoever breaks the penny, the other person gets to pick which half they take.
Oh.
Right? And I'm like, well, of course this is it. And the fact that this innkeeper like broke it and then gave him half back deliberately, it's it's petty. Both of them are worth a halfpenny, but it's a shitty thing to do. It's just like rude. It's just rude. And Kvothe knows he's being rude, but he can't do anything about it. And so, but also as you were doing that, I'm like, oh, I can see someone in the world who's like, who breaks it. And then like absent-mindedly, you kind of rub them together a little bit, like you do, because like you've lived with this currency your whole life, in the same way that like you pull your money out of your pocket and you fold it over once and you tap it so they're all flat, because like you've just handled this your whole life. And in the same way, you break a penny and you kind of rub the edges together and like
stack them,
and maybe like you do, like you feel the edges, maybe you rub the edge a little bit, because like, if it's a little bit rough, that's how you take care of it. So I'm trying to think what else I want to chat about. What I'm going to mention now, I'm going to do a brief moment where I talk about the fundraiser we're doing. Hello, everyone. I have been really caught up in talking about coins because they are so cool and I'm into them. But we're kind of here to talk about making the world a better place. So we've developed these coins, and the lovely folks at Shire Post have donated. Let me see. First, I'm going to talk about world builders. And so excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to... Oh boy, everything goes dark. Chrome browser. Oh, I'm not looking at the Chrome browser. There's Chrome browser. Now, it's turn on the tab that I've cleverly named All Pat Big Head, which I have to remember is my Zoom tab for some reason. And here is our fundraiser. It is a very good fundraiser. We're at almost $420,000. $420 is very nice. And then if you donate here, you will be helping to make the world a better place. The other good news is Humble Bundle, the Humble Bundle community, once we hit 500,000, they are going to give us another $100,000 worth of matching money to match all donations after that. So if you can help us get to 500,000, that's great. So if you're able to donate like $60, that's enough to give a family tree seedlings so that they can have fruit and nuts, which really provides food diversity. Fruit and nuts are very nutritionally dense. It's also a cash crop. It also prevents soil erosion. It also conserves water. If the people are doing agriculture in terms of a small farm plot or a garden, which, spoiler alert, a lot of people all over the world do eat a lot out of their gardens. And so having to spend less water and have less soil erosion and more shade is actually hugely helpful. $60 also could do perhaps 2 hives or 2 sets of honeybees. $30 is enough for Heifer to go in and train people, give them the education, tools, and materials to have honeybees, which provide wax and honey, which are cash crops. And suddenly your garden, your farm is producing 200 or 300% more efficiently, as are your neighbors. Heifer does so much with so little. And if you want to come in and donate, you can win some of the so many different prizes we're giving away. If you donate anywhere in the fundraiser, you're eligible for the thousands of books and games, prizes worth over $100,000. Honestly, like kind of way over $100,000, including, he said as he hopped to a different tab, 3 different chances to win customizable Wormwood gaming tables. Previously, they've given us like a really big black walnut prophecy gaming table, this gorgeous table worth $10,000. And everyone has always been like, oh, I wish I could win that table. But then usually with the next breath, they've said, but where would I put it? But Wormwood is now producing equally gorgeous, but more modular table design. I don't know if you guys at Shire Post have seen this, but so for example, here we are on their modular table design thing, and let's say you're in a very small Manhattan apartment, and you want to just have a little coffee table, but you want it fancy. It's like, ooh, a nice black walnut coffee table, or maybe you're a little more punk rock. You can use Purple Heart, which is a cool wood that I only learned about through Wormwood. What about we make the whole thing out of Purple Heart? Ooh, that looks really cool. Maybe the bottom is Wenge and the top is Purple Heart. No, bottom Purple Heart, top is Wenge, which is a really deep black wood. So look at that. That's a beautiful table. Or what if you're like, no, I want a dining room table. So you change it here to a small dining room table. And then you're like, I don't know if I like this. First, and then you change the height of it to a dining room height. And then you think, I don't like the look of that. That's not going to fit the wood of the floor in my dining room. So instead, let's make it cherry wood. Ooh, that looks nice. Cherry wood. And of course, the real cool thing about the Wormwood tables is they have this recessed game vault. So you can see here, inside the table is a place where you play games. And then if you're only halfway through, but you got to have dinner or do homework or whatever, you throw the topper on, and then you can have dinner. Again, these are so cool, and you can customize. You have 3 chances to win 3 different tables from Wormwood this year. Every $10 you donate gets you a chance to win these tables, thousands of books and games, and if you donate on my team page, then you also get the chance to win all the cool things that we have unlocked as stretch goals here. We're giving away one of Quoth's swords. We're giving away this like amazing handmade leather. I'm going to switch back to the full zoom here. This amazing like handmade leather. Right? Somebody made this, like tooled the leather. Look at that Celis flower on the inside, right? This is an act of love right here. There's Ari's gear, and that's the symbol of the Aemir, the tower wreathed in flame, and then there we go. It's all for world builders, and it's a book cover, so like you can do your journal, you can do your bullet journal, sketch journal, but then when you fill it up, you can swap it out, use it for other things. This is a stretch goal we've already unlocked, so you have a chance of winning this. You have a chance of winning a tax set pretty soon. Julia's beautiful Ari painting is going to end up in here. And just last stream, because I had the final coins, and we came, and we worked out all the details, and I was able to show them off. We unlocked, the stretch goal of we're going to put these coins in here. But even better than you getting the chance to win some of these coins, the coins that you can win on this team page are going to only come from world builders. You'll be able to buy this coin, and so now I'm going to segue back into talking about the coins. You said, which of these do you want? There's 2 thicknesses that work. And until you mentioned it, I had left a lot in the packaging. And until you mentioned it, I didn't realize there were two different widths. And so like here, this one is very, you can see it's thicker. And here, this one, oh, come on, focus. I know you want to look at my beautiful face camera, but look at the coins instead. Now it's my beautiful meaty ham hands. Come on. But you can see there's a difference in thickness there. And the truth is, once I felt them, I'm like, which ones feel better to me? You know, in the hand. They both have really good hand feel. But then I felt the thinner ones, and I'm like, these feel like really good, modern yet archaic coins. And I'm like, these are the ones that I want. But I'm like, but this one is cool. So do you mind if I tell sort of what we agreed?
Go for it.
But also these are cool. And I'm like, is there some way we can get something exclusive for the fundraiser to really reward the people who are jumping in and donating, and helping us to make the world a better place? And I'm like, oh, if these both work, could you make us a set of them on this thicker planchette? Am I pronouncing that right? Planchette?
Yeah.
We say blank. I'm sure that planchette works. Probably if I worked at the U.S. Mint, we'd say that. But we're like the outlaws of the coin world, so
please tell me
we
that's.
don't use none of them fancy words.
Please tell me that we're the outlaws of the coin world is in your branding and marketing. Because I want that.
It is now.
Well, and it all goes down to, a mint condition coin isn't what we make. We beat things up on purpose, which is a no-no in numismatist worlds.
Yep. And again, like this, the thinner ones in my hand and in my heart, and I'm like, yes, this is the British penny that speaks to me. It's like, this is a cool old real penny. Because, I mean, I've been a fan of fantasy currency for forever. But a lot, and I'm not trying to talk shit here, but a lot of times I would go to a convention. I'm like, ooh, a booth. They're selling fantasy coins. And I go and I touch them and I'm like, these are bullshit. Like, and I'm just angry. And I'm like, it's pretty, but nobody would put a fucking dragon. Like, it's like, what? I mean, that's not true. Some kingdoms might put a dragon on a coin, but you better have a really good historical reason for that. You don't just like, oh, it's fantasy magical coin. No, it needs historical antecedent. Why did a ruler or an economist or a person working in a mint put that dragon on there? Then it's okay. But for me, even more than the engraving itself, it was like I would pick it up and I'm like, oh, this is made out of aluminum. And I know exactly what it's made out of, and it feels fake, even though there's absolutely been coins made out of aluminum historically, like especially like, say, during World War II. I think all of the French francs were just aluminum, and they felt like the fakest things. They needed the iron and the copper for munitions. Or tin, and I'm like, it's a fine coin. I mean, even if it looks cool, it's tin. And, when I worked the initial one out with Tom, and I'm like, can we just do something out of raw copper? And he's like, well, real coins aren't made out of actual copper. And I'm like, yeah, I know. like, I want to do it though. Can we do it? And then we did it just to try it. And I'm like, fuck, man, this feels real good in my hand. And everyone who's ever held one of those jots was like, yeah, that's it. Like, ooh, it took us a while to get there, but we nailed that design. It's so good. And anyone who's ever held one is like, wow, this feels like it's worth something. Like this is a significant piece of money. And the truth is, like, even in Kvothe's time, a copper jot, I mean, that's like a good, your own room in a nice inn, and a good meal, and a drink, and they'll take care of your horse. Like it's some money. So I'm sorry, I got real distracted there. So I'm like, I like these thin ones for like maybe even the coins. I think that this is still in circulation today. Like this Phages coin all this time later. Although, we could have fun doing like different versions of it in the same way that the Queen Elizabeth changed on the penny over the years. But what I think is, and this is what I talked about with Helen, I'm like, I think this thick one is the one that was minted in Phages' time. And because he's like, no, this is the coin. I am declaring myself king forever in life and in death. And as one of the first original pieces of coinage from this kingdom, I mean, your currency is kind of your marketing as an institution. And so he's like, no, thicker. And they're like, we can't make it any thicker. We know you're a thick boy. We know that size matters to you, you giant, horrible Viking man, but we can't make it any thicker, or we can't put the groove in it. And he's like, the groove stays. I'm actually projecting a lot onto Phaedra right now because this is how I behave. But I love the fact that he said this so that when these coins went out, people would feel them and be like, oh, right, they're a real place. They're not going cheap on their coins. This penny is worth something. This kingdom is worth something. His rule is worth something. And then he died, and they're like, haha, now we can make these coins with much less metal, and so then it became that. But the thick ones are the ones that are exclusive to World Builders. You can win them here by donating on my team page, both in the as we unlock stretch goals, and as more and more donors come onto the page, we're going to add a few more coins. Also, every day we do prize draws. And every day, one of those prize draws here on my page will be for one of these coins. So if you want to win one, you could win one, right here, right today. And but you got to make sure that you've donated on this page. And for every $10 you kick in, you get you get another chance to win. Both all the stuff on my page and the daily draws and the tables and all the other stuff from World Builders. There's my pitch. Right now, yesterday we gave away 3 in our daily drawing. And also I put 15. I put 15 in to the page where anyone who donates can win. We'll do that draw at the end of the fundraiser. But how about this? In celebration of you guys come in here and visit it on the page, I'll say today's end of stream draw. Normally we do a daily draw for everyone who's donated in the last 24 hours. And then we do a cumulative draw for everyone who's donated from the beginning of the fundraiser. And so how about today, in honor of you guys coming, we're going to do 2 of each, 2 cumulative draws from everyone who's donated from the beginning, but also 2 daily draws. And that means if you donate before 4:30, which is where we're going to end the stream, for every $10 you kick in, you will also have a chance to win one of these coins. So we're giving away 4 of these today. And also all that money will go to a good cause. Also, all that money will help us hit 500,000, where we get, more matching money from the Humble Bundle community. But also you'll have a chance to win one of these for your very own. So hit that link, go in, donate, and also, know that you will be making the world a better place. You'll be feeding hungry children. And not just once, because like $120 buys a family a goat, and that goat produces milk every day. So that family has calcium and protein in their diet. Children wake up every day and they get to know that they're going to have food right away. And the family gets income from selling the milk. And the parents get to go to sleep every night knowing that they will be able to give their children food. If you're having a rough time this year, man, I get it. Everybody's having a rough time. I feel like 85% of the entire world has to be traumatized by 2020. Things suck. The climate is bad, pandemic, fascism. It's rough. It's rough. And we can't fix that. And if you're like me, that makes you feel helpless. That makes you feel hopeless. And it's a bad feel. And you can't fix all that stuff. Neither can I. Sorry. We can do our part, little bits and pieces. Speak up, protest, vote. Try to live clean. But if you want to make a difference in the world for like $30, you can change a family's life forever in a sustainable way. That family will be better forever. It will have help forever. They'll have control, more sustainable food, a source of income forever. And I've said it multiple times over the last couple of days. That's the best thing I'm offering here. Like, sure, win a table, win a book, get a coin. But if you come in and you put in some money, $20 is enough for a flock of chickens. You put in that $20, put in $40, 2 flocks of chickens. And then you'll know that Heifer's going to take that money and somebody's life is going to change and their life will be better forever. And you will have done that. Can't fix everything. All you can do is what you can do. And what you can do right now, odds are if you're watching this on a computer or a phone, the harsh reality is that you are among one of the 1% wealthiest people in the world. And I can say that for a fact because I know the stats. And 60% of the world, if it gets dinner, cooks it over an open fire. And so you can probably afford $20 is what I'm saying. I'm not saying of necessity because some of you have lost your jobs and some of you are in a real rough place. But if you can, try it. And if you don't immediately feel good, send me an email. I'll for real give you your money back. The money, we'll leave that money in the fundraiser. But I personally, Pat Rothfuss, guarantee that you will feel good about yourself and what you've done in the world. Or if not, send me an email and I will 100% refund your money. Seriously. The Pat Rothfuss feel good money back guarantee. I should probably check with my team and see if there's like 100 emails waiting for me. They're like, stop saying that. Okay. Sorry, I just really talked a whole bunch. I got real wrapped up in the charity. I'm going to take 5 more minutes to talk about, about the Rest of King Killer. You've seen the pictures of the coins in the 10th anniversary. What's the one that you want to do next? What's the one that you really want to tackle? And I'm not saying this is the one we're going to do next. I'm saying what's tickling at you?
Let me get my book. I don't know. Woody, do you have anything in mind?
I mean, a lot of them are fun ideas for me. And a lot of them I can imagine being really problematic to produce on scale or for an affordable price. In some ways, the hardest ones would be the Modegan ones. Because, in many ways, they actually don't have a modern currency system. But pennis piece would be cool. Like,
That's actually the one I was gonna bring up.
really?
Just that shape. Yeah. Yeah, for anybody who's not familiar, it's an A-turn coin. I just think that shape is really lovely, and I think it would just feel really nice.
Tom's here.
I was waving. Hey. I was waving. Hey, it's good to see you.
I can see you.
I'm so delighted everything is going well over there. Also, I heard that you're like aiming to retire.
Yeah, sorta.
You know, like big thumbs up. Like I really admire people who are like, you know what, this is good. It's fun. I love it. But also maybe I dream of a time when I'm like, maybe I'll make some time for just sitting down and reading a book at some point in my life again.
Well, these guys have got it going on. I want to just be able to step out of the way.
And I'll say,
help when I can, But
my dad would always say to me, he goes, all I want is for you guys to be happy and successful. And then he would pause and he'd say, successful enough to support me in the lifestyle to which I would like become accustomed. I gotta say, Tom, you were so good. You worked with me. We did that cool thing, but you know what a pain in the ass I am to work with. And your people are champs, and this coin is amazing. It is, if I'm going to say it again and again, it's not just better than I expected. It is honestly better than anything I could have hoped for. And you know me, I am extremely hypercritical. I'm a monster. I do not bullshit around when I say that. These are amazing.
I agree.
They're awesome.
I'm blown away.
But you were about to say the penis piece. It sounds like I'm saying penis. I'm not. I'm saying penance, as if one engages in penance. If you have a 10th anniversary edition of the book, Nate Taylor drew a lot of the coinage, so you could see scale and different thicknesses and sizes. And
look through a little bit. I know it's small, but
yeah. The unfortunate, so go, there we go. And actually I'm going to make your screen the big one here again.
Go back to the front.
Spotlight video. There we go. I can make you the big one. So yeah, there's the Shaldish coins, which Nate drew from photo reference of the old Shaldish ones we did. And then here, there's Vintish. There's the penny with the score through. And then here's the Commonwealth. All those. And then from the Aturan Empire, there's the penance piece. And the interesting thing economically about that one, you see, like Nate's included things for scale here, so you can see how big these coins are. But also, and so here is bread and wheat. And if you see on the penance, I'm pointing with my mouse as if you can see my mouse. On the penance piece, it's the teardrop shaped one in the corner. The interesting thing about that coinage is that coin can always be redeemed for a small loaf of bread. And that loaf of bread is a legislated thing in Atour. It is not tied to a value of money. It's not exchangeable for other currency. But you give, like, that is a coin that means you can always have bread to eat. And so, like, you would get those coins and you would distribute them to the poor, or you would donate them to charity. So I mean, that would be a cool one to do. Oh boy, I left the other coin image up on the OBS. So,
I think we got it.
yeah. So, how about this? Which of these coins most terrifies you to produce, given what you've seen in there? Which one are you like, that would be cool, but oh no, that is the highest hanging fruit?
Vintish halved and reels.
Yup.
Those would be the most complicated.
They're
and I know we've talked about how to do it, but
it's gonna be a nightmare. Because like, and the thing is, there were two old sets of currency, but this is the very old one that they folded into with the other set of currency when Phaedra like brought all the clans together. So they still produce these, but like the exchange rates are all janky in between them. That's why this looks like a complete like coherent set of coinage, and the other vintage coins look like, oh yeah, of course these fit together. But what are they doing in the same currency system? It's that 600 years ago somebody just said, fine, we'll do everything. Shut up. I'm tired of talking about it. You can keep your goddamn old coins. Sorry to be so cussed, everybody. Okay, guys, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for being willing to stick around for longer than your appointed hour. Tom, it's so good to see you. What an unexpected treat. So yeah, you have everybody here in the chat. You have until 4:30 to jump in, and you will be eligible to win one of 4 draws we're doing today. And all of those will be for the World Builders exclusive extra thick, that's with 2 C's, Vintish penny. Breakable. There you go. There you are. He's doing it.
Oh, Tom's doing it.
Oh, it feels so good. It feels so good. I'm not going to lie to you folks. I've been resisting the urge to do it during the whole stream. I've got this one.
It's really difficult.
I've got this one sitting right here next to me. Okay.
I just feel really good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I will be talking to you soon about more projects.
Cool. Yeah, and if anybody's interested in learning more about our process and our story, you can check out shirepost.com. We do have a holiday sale going on right now.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to Google that up, and I'm going to drop a link right in the chat.
Cool. I know Andrew is doing chat support, so
yeah.
Pop in with a link too.
But I also I thank you for reminding me of that, because I really wanted to make sure people got over and saw all the other stuff that you do. And again, at one point I knew everything you did, and these days it's like I've been living under a rock.
There's like 200 different things.
Dang.
Yeah, our newest license is American Gods.
Oh no. Okay.
That's been really awesome.
Okay.
Yes, we did the sun coin, Matt Sweeney's coin, as well as the moon that gets plucked out of the sky. So it's the Liberty head on one side and then the moon on the other.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at that and make everybody in the stream look at it with me. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.